and welcome to another episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the unceded land where this conversation takes place, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging. I sat down with Aitor Jeronimo Orive, who's in Melbourne right now for a pop-up at Nobody's Baby in South Yarra. Aitor was born in Madrid, raised in Australia, trained in Valencia and went on to work in Michelin-starred restaurants in Spain, London and the Basque Country, including Mugaritz, the Fat Duck and Nerua, before running his own one-star restaurant in Singapore. His cooking is grounded in Basque home food, charcoal, seafood, stews, big cuts of meat. And that's what he's cooking here. We talked about growing up between countries, his family's cooking, life in high-pressure kitchens, and what brought him back to Melbourne. Hi, Aitor, and welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Well, you're actually having me here, although this isn't really your place, but although it will be for the next 3 months. So you're doing a pop-up at Nobody's Baby.
That's right, yep.
Yeah. How did that come about?
Oh, just come through, you know people that know other people, and just from a friend of a friend, they knew Gustavo, the owner, and you just spoke and we got rolling, basically.
So it's going to be highlighting or celebrating Basque food?
Yes, that is my heritage. And it is what I like to cook, actually.
Yeah. So what will be on the menu here?
Well, we'll have some Basque, mainly Basque dishes and interpretations of Basque cuisine, some Spanish as well, because we can take from both sides, Spain and France, obviously being in the middle of the Pyrenees. But the main course will be the chuleta, which is, a Basque way of doing a big ribeye steak bone-in.
Okay.
That'd be the highlight, I guess.
Yeah. So the Basque Country is fascinating. I'm a French teacher as well as a writer, and I know that the Basque people are fiercely proud of their own part of the world, and they've got a language that's not like any other language, which is amazing.
Yeah, Euskera.
Yeah.
It's a pre-Indo-European language, so it's a language isolate, so they don't really know where it comes from.
I know. I find that fascinating.
It is. That's what makes us very proud.
Yeah. So a lot of the names of the dishes that you cook, do they have Basque names or do you change them?
Some do. I haven't used a lot of the Basque names here because, for example, something that's very typical in the Basque Country is the sound CH is with a TX. So unless you know, I think it's pretty hard for people to pronounce it or how to go about pronouncing it. So I've skipped some of those, but yeah, those are pretty common in Basque.
Yeah. And what is that typical food? I know you're saying it's surrounded by got France and Spain on either side, but what's typical Basque food?
It's very produce driven. So picture that the Basque Country has a lot of mountains, but it also has a large coastal area. So you have a lot of sheep and cows and a lot of produce from farms and the mountains and game and all that. But it has a very strong fishing culture as well.
Okay.
So everything's cooked charcoal, mainly in the asadores or sagardotegi in Basque. So a lot of they don't do much to it, just getting really good produce, whether it be beef or fish, and just, stick it over charcoals. Lots of garlics, lots of peppers as well.
Okay.
Lots of lettuce.
And so what vegetable dishes are you serving here?
So we've got piquillo peppers. They're produced everywhere in the world, in South America a lot as well, but these are, they have a DO, like wines and products in Spain, Denominación de Origen, so it's from a certain region of the Basque Country, in Navarra, called Lodosa. So these are wonderful, so we just confit them and we serve them as a side with a steak. That's a bit of a staple. You can have them on their own as well.
Yeah, yeah. What a good combo, though. That's so good. And does the Basque region have their own wines as well?
They do.
Yeah.
They do. So I'm sure you've heard of Rioja.
Yes.
Right? So La Rioja borders with the Basque Country on the south, and there's a part of Rioja that creeps into the most southern province of the Basque Country, Álava. So it's called Rioja Alta, which means High Rioja. So technically those would be Basque wines. Actually, not trying to be biased, but they're probably one of the best Rioja wines. They're ones
Is that right?
of Rioja.
Are they easy to get here?
I'm not sure. I haven't looked, but I'm sure there are.
Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
One of my favourite wine shops is Cardwell Cellars in Abbotsford, so I'll have to have a talk to them and see if because they do like a mapped wine shelving, and they try and get wines that are a bit more from more I don't want to say obscure regions, but from regions we don't normally see. So I'll go and have a chat to them.
Yeah, note that one down. I'm sure you can find some.
Amazing. And so, in some of the things I've read about you, you mention your grandmothers quite a lot. What are some food memories you have of their cooking?
So, one of my grandmothers is from the south of Spain, and the other one, the ones that migrated here to Australia in the 50s, are from the Basque Country. Well, from them I always remember like very fondly things like croquetas, croquettes, Spanish omelette, tortilla, those sort of homey things,
Delicious, yeah.
Yeah. More from my Andalusian grandmother, because my Basque grandmother had two. She fled the Civil War, so she was brought up in England for most of her adulthood, before she came to Australia.
Wow. And I read that you were born in Madrid, but you were raised in Australia. So how did that come about? Because it sounds like they came out. So is that that's the Spanish side of the family, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
So they came out here in the 50s. After the Second World War. Mum was born here. They came out to Mildura. So Mum was born in Mildura.
Is that because it's farming? Or
I don't know. My grandfather was a teacher, so
okay.
I don't know how that... I've never asked why Mildura. I have no idea. Later on, they did move closer to the city. They moved to Frankston. And that's where I lived with Mum. And yeah, Mum went to Spain, then she came back. So I've always been back and forth from Spain and Melbourne, from Madrid and Melbourne, because that's where Mum settled in Spain, in Madrid. That's where I was born. That's where she met Dad. I don't know if that makes sense.
Okay. And how old were you when you came back here?
The first time I came, I was 4 years old.
Okay.
And we came to live when I was 9.
Okay. Right. And so where would you say your heart lies? Is it split down the middle between the two?
I've lived most of my life in Spain more than Australia, but I mean, I was brought up here during my youth, so kind of both. And Mum's always been very Australian, so she's always,
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And
so both, I would say both.
Okay. And at what stage did you know you wanted to be a chef?
It was Mum's idea, actually. Wasn't the best student in the world, so Mum was a teacher, so she wanted me to study, but she said if you don't want to study or pursue academics like uni and all that stuff, I liked cooking at home, so as a good teacher that she was, she suggested, well, why don't you study cooking? It's something that you really like. So it came from her, wasn't me. Really.
Yeah. And so did you do that here, or?
No, I did that in Spain.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I did that in Spain, and then from culinary school, I learnt mostly not as you learn the base in culinary school. Let's be honest, you don't learn a lot of it, but you learn more in restaurants.
And you've worked in some obviously top Michelin-starred restaurants. So from your learning days, where did you go? How did you get into those restaurants?
Well, at first I started working at pretty random restaurants, nothing fancy, high volume, in Valencia. That's where I started being a chef in Spain. And then just through interest in meeting other chefs that have been in the more high-end fine dining sector, that I started to get into it. And that was a time when Ferran Adrià was coming up, El Bulli, so it was kind of that big explosion of Spanish fine dining being at the top of the culinary mountain in the world, so to say. And I just started applying to these restaurants to do stages in Spain and overseas as well.
And although it was your mum's idea, what was it about cooking and being a chef that drew you in, because you're still doing it? So you obviously started doing it and loved it.
I don't know. I think, actually, you've just brought back a memory, because I think I started really getting into it in high school here, like at Home Eco. Like it was something that I enjoyed.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. Because often there's lots of different parts, aren't there? So there's the actually creating food, like, and the creation and I don't know if you want to say it, like the art of creating and being creative. Then there's also feeding people and that hospitality side, which is a nice side as well. And then it can be the thrill of service, that adrenaline, and then I guess it's the accolades as well. Do all those four parts play into your
absolutely
love of being a chef?
Yeah, they do. You just got to be wary of not getting too obsessed with accolades.
Yeah.
It happens. And you just got to find your spot where you feel you're happy with what you're doing and you're making other people happy. Also, I've always thought of cooking as it's something you make or you create that you get to eat as well. You know, so it's you don't get to do that with other stuff. I mean, you can build furniture and you can sit on them and that, but I think with eating and you explore more of your senses, I guess, in a way.
Yes. And I guess not every chef has that spark. Like, not every chef is looking to those top people as you were and thinking, I'd like to find out more by working in those restaurants. Because I imagine, like, Mugaritz and so on is that a hard place to work?
My first fine dining restaurant was Nerua in the Basque Country, which belongs to the same company as Mugaritz. They're 1-star and they've been in the World 50 Best when I was there. It was really hard in the beginning, making that transition from, I don't know, hotel kitchens or just normal restaurants to fine dining, where the level of attention and detail is so much higher, and the way you work, and it was they kind of broke me down in a way, you know. So I had to, everything that I knew was right just went out the window. So I had to start again. But I'm very grateful to them now, and I still have a very good relationship with them.
How long were you there?
I was there for about a year, only at the start.
That's a good amount of time,
yeah. And Mugaritz wasn't. It was not as harsh. Bigger environment, a lot more chefs. They're very polite people. It still had its hardness in, there was things that were tough to do technically and stuff. You learn a lot, but it wasn't like an aggressive environment. I think the Fat Duck was probably more challenging in that sense. It was harder, more strict. Not strict, just when you're under so much pressure, you know, it's people aren't the nicest, you know? Do you know what I mean? But it's normal, you know.
Is it competitive? Is that what it
Very.
is?
Yeah, it's kind of like it creates, I don't know what it's like now. For me, it was like 10, 15 years ago. I'm sure it's changed. It was just an environment where kind of you had to go through this passage of you had to go through the shit they went through, you know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does, and I've heard that a lot. That's right.
Whether you deserve it or not. You know?
Yeah, because
there's some people that are not capable and they get shit because, you know, they're not getting their job done. I mean, in any trade. But there it was just you just had to cop it in the beginning, whether you liked it or not. So it's up to you whether you want to do it or not. A lot of people left.
So I guess you have to have ambition or that passion that's just I just have to see this through.
Yeah.
It'll get better. That kind of idea, and it does, yeah.
It does, yeah.
Did you start, I don't know, picking herbs and peeling potatoes, or did you come in more higher up than that?
Yeah, you kind of start in those production kitchens where it's just, you know, there's no service, so it's less difficult and tense, and then you just work your way through. Later on as a chef, you realise how that process goes, in a sense that it's about attitude, you know. No one likes picking herbs, but if you pick the best herbs, you know, you're going to move on to the next step.
Yeah.
you know, which is a staff meal or running a station. If you're there picking herbs like you don't want to be there, well, you probably be stuck there.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a way to promoting the people that are more valid than others.
So when we say picking herbs, because someone for Christmas gave me the Ottolenghi comfort book and it's so great, and he uses a lot of things from scratch, which I love, and I've had the time over the holidays to cook a lot of the meals from the book, which has been the most I've ever dipped into a cookbook. But anyway, you know, like oregano, when you're picking, like is that what we're talking, like each individual leaf, picking them off and making little piles, or what do you mean when we really talk about, when chefs always go on about picking herbs? What's the visual?
In the kitchens that I've worked, I don't know there was picking herbs, but it wasn't like a whole thing that I can remember. There are other tedious jobs, but maybe not picking herbs. You know, like peeling stuff or cracking nuts or
Shelling peas.
Yeah, things like that. I don't think there was that many herbs in Mugaritz. In Mugaritz, there was like a section for herbs, like its own section where they picked from the garden. But I was never in there, fortunately. So I don't know, it depends on the restaurant, I guess, and what's on their menu.
And I guess you get...
I think Noma did a lot of herb picking at one stage. I haven't been there, so from what I've heard, I don't know.
Yeah. Just always wonder, is this what they do? Like always, but I guess chefs have a lot of hacks as well, like things that make their life easier that perhaps we don't have access. Well, I don't have access to as a domestic cook or a cook at home, a home cook, and I'm often really amazed by those really clever ways of doing things.
Yeah,
chefs do.
Yeah, well, you know, just through sheer work, people come up with better ways of doing stuff. You know?
Yeah.
Just so many hours put into anything, you know, or you might have, and so many people in those big teams, you know, you might have someone one day say, hey chef, I've realised that if I do it this way, it's better, it's more efficient, or we use less of whatever, and then that evolves. You know, people come up with things.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily have to be the head chef or the chef de partie. It could be a stagiaire, you know.
Yeah. Which I think these days they'd get listened to, right? Whereas perhaps they wouldn't have.
Yeah, it depends on what sort of culture there is in the restaurant, I guess.
Yeah.
You know.
And so you went to Singapore.
I did, yeah.
Why did you decide to go there?
I was working in China, in Shanghai, for a little while, and I was running a consultancy restaurant for a 2 Michelin-starred chef from Madrid called Paco Roncero. And it was casual food, it was nice, but it just got to a point that I wanted to do something else. And I reached out to the people from Mugaritz, and coincidentally, Iggy is really good friends, Ignatius Chan is really good friends with Andoni. So they were looking for a head chef, and it kind of connected. And they asked me, well, since you're in the region, would you be interested in this? And I said, yeah, for sure.
And where did you, what level did you go in at there?
Oh, I was the head chef of Iggy's.
Oh, head chef, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you had your own restaurant?
After that, after Iggy's, after 3 years, I had my own restaurant with Unlisted Collection, which is a Singapore company that has several award-winning restaurants. One of them being Bernard's, fellow Australian, Dave Pint. And it's again, another opportunity came up, and I took it.
And because I feel like that would be really challenging, opening your own or running your own business in a different country. How do you go about that?
You just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was that was Basque food?
It was, yeah, it was. I mean, it was a bit of modern Basque food with a bit of Asian touches. In Singapore, you have access to really good Japanese produce, and European.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah.
I feel like the Singapore dining public are really receptive to things that are different and fine dining. Do you think the dining public are different in Singapore to here?
I don't think I've been here working long enough to find out yet.
Okay, fair enough.
Check back with
Good
me
answer,
in 6 months.
Yeah.
But I think there's a bigger will to spend more money on fine dining in Singapore than there is here.
Yes.
maybe.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah.
And I've seen a little bit. Yeah. Also, Singapore is a very affluent country. I guess that helps. And they're really into food, any type of food. You know, as a nation.
Yeah, that's right. I think that's probably, perhaps what I was meaning. So
Australia is as well in its own way.
And Melbourne, yeah, for sure. And so that step up from, because already as a head chef, you're thinking about numbers and money and budget and also creating menus. What changed what changes when you become an owner as well?
Well, for me, it was a massive learning curve. So I wasn't very, I didn't know much about that part of the business. I never got to see it much at Iggy's, which in a way was good, because I didn't have to have that responsibility, which is a big one. And where I really learned all that part of the business was with Peng Lo, which is the owner of Unlisted Collection, so shout out to him. And it's probably the trickiest part. I mean, cooking is, if you got a knack for it, it's easy, but the numbers are different.
Yeah, that's right.
Sometimes they're a bit beyond. I can control what's in the kitchen most of the time. Sometimes the numbers, it's something you can control, but you can't control some expenses or whether you're making enough revenue. Sometimes it's a bit tricky. It's trickier, definitely. You got to be good at both. But the good chefs are good at both.
Yeah.
Or find a partner that's really good at that part of the business, I guess.
That's right. And then, so what brought you back to Melbourne? Just for a change, or?
So I've always wanted to come back to Melbourne. I didn't think I was going to do it now. I thought it'd be later on in my career. But since the economic crisis in Singapore and so many F&B closures, we were one of the first affected. So when we closed Basque Kitchen, I thought, well, now that I'm here, I may as well just go back to Australia. Why not?
Yeah.
And I made that decision with my wife. We talked about it. We thought, should we go? And all my family's here, so that's probably why.
Yeah. And you've done a few pop-ups.
I've done a couple, yeah.
Yeah. And I feel like pop-ups are becoming more popular, for want of a better word, in Melbourne as a way for people to experiment and try some things out. I feel like it would be hard going into other people's kitchens, but how do you when you walk in somewhere, what are the first things you're looking for or deciding on as to how you're going to work in that space?
What I do, which I should be better at, when I walk into kitchens, I kind of just have a look at things over the top. I should look at it a bit better next. In some places that I've gone in, I've just said, yeah, that looks good, and then I'll figure it out later. Which maybe I shouldn't do that so much. But you just find your way. You make do, in that sense. So I think if you're a skillful chef, if you've got good baggage and good knowledge, you should be able to fix what you want to do with what you have, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Obviously, if a kitchen is limited in some sense, then you can't do this thing, for example. So you just got to adapt. You got to be very versatile.
Yeah. And likewise, if you've been away from the country for a while, do you have to take some time to consider the culinary landscape and see what's going on, what's available?
Yeah, well, in my case, I've been very lucky because since I arrived here and I started cooking, Frank Camorra from Madrid is a good friend of mine, and he's been super helpful. Like any questions about produce, suppliers, he's been there for me the whole time. So shout out to him.
I love it. I feel like you've mentioned lots of names of people being really helpful, and I do love the idea of a community of chefs working together. Do you think that has shifted, that idea of that people are less competitive and more willing to support each other?
I think so. I mean, for the most part, at least from the people that I know, I can't speak for everyone, but Yeah, I think so. I mean, we should share and, help each other, you know?
Yeah. Now,
It'll just make it better for everyone, you know?
well, that's right.
Yeah.
And it is like hospitality. It makes me feel like it's about community, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ideally.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I want to talk about Michelin stars because you've been in venues that have had stars and your own
I've had my own, yeah.
your own star as well. And it's an interesting debate, I guess, in Australia because we don't have Michelin stars, but New Zealand has yet. Well, and people are anti them or they're for them, I think. I mean, we have the hats here, but New Zealand will be launching their Michelin star program midway through this year, and they've had to spend a lot of money to get that in there. Do you think it's important that Australia has Michelin star program?
Being selfish, thinking about myself, yes. For the country itself, I think it puts Australian, the Australian food scene more in the global scope of things. Michelin will do that. We already have 50 best, but it's not a lot of it here. So I think yes. How are they going to go about that, or if they want it or not? That's really not for me to say, in a way. I don't know if it's expensive. I think we're a pretty wealthy country, to be honest, so I don't know if you could say it's expensive or not. I'm sure there are things that are way more expensive. But definitely for tourism, it does a lot. I mean, that's why all other countries bring it on board.
Yeah.
Or other non-European countries, because obviously in Europe it's something that's been around for hundreds of years. But I think it's a plus. You know, I don't think it'd be negative at all.
No.
I don't know the other agendas and who wants it, who doesn't want it. I think that's not for me to say.
Yeah. And I imagine it. I mean, it must be a great feeling to have a star, but then it does also add that pressure to keep it as well.
Yeah, it does.
Can you enjoy it, or is there a brief moment where you enjoy it and then you've got to keep knuckling down?
In my case, I just didn't really think about that.
Okay.
You know.
Fair enough.
I mean, if you think about it in that way, it's kind of like, I guess it'd be negative in that way. You know, just keep doing what you do. And for us, it's always not just for me and the team. We try to be better each day. So you're going upwards. So I don't think so. We never thought of losing, but we thought more on gaining. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So you're here for the next, in Nobody's Baby, for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
When people come to one of your dinners, what's the best way for them to approach it?
What I would do, I mean, they can do whatever they want. You know, there's no rules. If you want to have this and have this with that, it's fine with me. But what I would do, how I would enjoy it, I'd get some starters or tapas in the beginning. There's a few selection of them. Gildas, which is gildas. It's a very typical Basque pincho. You know, it's got a bit of bitterness, saltiness, gets you salivating, you know. It's a good appetizer to start with. And then a few tapas, and then I would just go for a steak with all its trimming. So steak, chips, salad, and some piquillo peppers. That's all you need in a dessert.
Delicious.
That's what I would do. But
what's your dessert?
my dessert would be a flan. That's what I like. Cheesecake as well. That's my wife's favourite. She's helping me, by the way.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah. Well, sort of. No,
So
she's
good.
great. She's great.
And just to finish with, I often ask chefs this, is what would your advice be to young chefs starting out in the industry?
Just be passionate. If you really want it, just be passionate and, you know, just work really, really hard. I think that's something that's missing nowadays, you know. Like my granddad would say, hard work never killed anyone. So you get what you put into it, basically. So just work really. If you're passionate, if you really love it, set yourself some goals, even if they're crazy goals, you know. as a good friend of mine, Julianne Roger from Odet, says, just aim for the moon, you know, and wherever you get, I'm sure it'll be good, you know. That's what I suggest young people should do.
Perfect. Thank you, Aitor.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with a Chef with Aitor Jeronimo Orive before his pop-up Basque Txoko at Nobody's Baby Bar in South Yarra. You can check out all the goodness on Instagram, both at Nobody's Baby Bar, or one word, or at Aitor Chef, which is AITORTXUCHEF. Or you can just go and check it out for yourself. I'll be there soon. If you'd like to hear more stories from other chefs, I'm also on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef. You can read this chat online at www.conversationwithchef.com, and of course you can follow me on Apple and Spotify podcasts. I would absolutely love it if you told a friend about my chats. I still think it's the best way to get these delicious stories out into the world. Once again, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day and bon appetit.